30 minutes. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with us tonight here on Live Impact News. I'm Vanessa Rufus. At this hour, we are following some breaking news out of the Indianapolis area where there's a suspect sought right now after a shooting where we're told 2 officers were wounded. You're looking at live images from that scene. Indianapolis Metro Police saying this is the 100 block of Diplomat Court in Beech Grove, and this sparked around 5:30 in the evening. A nearby hospital apparently treating these 2 officers for gunshot wounds at this hour. We don't know, though, specifically what their conditions are. As we mentioned, there is a person who's being sought at this moment. It sounds like this is a person who could be in his 30s. He was last seen wearing a black shirt, blue jeans, and white tennis shoes. Folks living in this area are urged to contact police with any information on this suspect. So once again, we'll be following this throughout the evening here on Live Impact. For a little peek behind the curtain, we're watching multiple feeds, so this is just one of the live shots that we're getting out of Indianapolis tonight. We have a secondary feed that involves, it looks like a reporter who's about to give a report either for their regular newscast there or for a special coverage. So we might hop in with him as soon as he starts to speak. But just for folks who aren't familiar with this concept at all, we're not in charge of exactly what the feeds bring to us, whether reporters are speaking. We merely try to time things out. So if we start to see him once again start to talk, we'll pop over there. But it doesn't look like he's speaking at this very moment. With that, we want to go ahead and head over to Spartanburg County, South Carolina, because on the political front, we know a big discussion right now is who will be in the running for governor. And we have, we've got the reporter speaking in Indy. Let's move to that really quick.
5 minutes, Indiana State Police confirmed to us that 2 Beech Grove officers were shot just before 6 this afternoon as they responded to a domestic disturbance at Beach Meadow Apartments. That's just down the road here, just north of 465 on Emerson Avenue. In the meantime, police are actively searching for Kenneth Terrell Johnson, a 47-year-old black male. Police tell us he is 6 foot tall, 165 pounds, last seen wearing a blue hoodie and was seen heading northwest of Beech Grove High School. In the meantime, we are waiting for an update on the condition of those 2 officers. We are expecting to learn that at Eskenazi, and as well, IMPD and ISP are handling all of the emergency calls for Beech Grove for the time being. As you can expect, there is a heavy police presence here. They are managing this situation. So anyone who sees Kenneth Terrell Johnson, again a 6 foot black male, 165 pounds, last seen wearing a blue hoodie, you're asked to call 911. Again, we are expecting an update on the condition of those 2 officers from Eskenazi Hospital. That is where our Logan Gay is now. Logan, what have you been able to piece together?
And folks, we're just waiting to see if his anchor asks him a question. Since he's still sitting there, looks like he's nodding his head. Maybe he's being asked a question. All right, he's been cleared from the scene. Once again, if we get anything more out of Indy, we'll take you back there breaking. Okay, so let's indeed now turn to Spartanburg County, South Carolina. As we mentioned, there's a big discussion over who will be the next governor. We've got here a feed showing the Republican Party's candidate forum, 5 GOP candidates for governor, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Yvette, State Senator Josh Kimbrell, South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, U.S. Representative Nancy Mace, and Congressman Ralph Norman. You might remember in the last few days, the current governor, Henry McMaster, actually endorsed his lieutenant governor, Pamela Yvette. But let's listen here to the debate with this out of Spartanburg County.
And by the way, I do have a tiny bit of breaking news, which is the...
They would sign the front of paychecks and not just the back of paychecks. I want somebody, thank you, that's important. I was a huge fan of the president. It's the first time I really took a hard look at politics because he encouraged business people to step off the sidelines and get involved. And so that's how I got here today. I'm very proud of the successes that Governor McMaster and I have had over the last 7 years, giving the largest income tax cuts to South Carolinians. Do we love that? Giving the largest announced pay raises to our teachers and our law enforcement and to all law enforcement and military in the audience today. Let's please give them a round of applause. I was so proud to stand with the governor when he signed the bill to keep biological males out of women's sports, South Carolina being one of the first states to do that. And because of that and all the other campaign promises we were able to keep already, in July threw my hat in the ring to be the next governor of the great state of South Carolina. And I was so proud on Thursday to get the full endorsement of Governor McMaster. Thank you. The governor is our longest-serving governor, our most popular governor, and a governor that I'm very proud to have served with for 7 years. The governor said it best. If you like the first chapter, you are going to love the next chapter. I see a South Carolina where we fully eliminate state income tax, that we cut back on useless regulations. In fact, we sunset them all and bring them up in front of the General Assembly. We made sure that we don't have waste, fraud, and abuse here in South Carolina, and we leverage technology to make sure that government runs efficiently. Now, I only have 5 minutes, and I say I only have a minute left, so June 9th is coming quick. Thank you all for coming out. We need to have turnouts 10x of this all around our state, because 13% turnout in a primary is dismal. And my dad used to say, you get the government you vote for. So we all need to get out and vote, and you have a lot of choices. But I want to tell you, the choice will be very clear on June 9th. Everybody that is running for governor will tell you that they are a Trump conservative, somebody who has stood with the president from day one. Now do your homework. In January of 23, President Trump came to South Carolina. He was looking for friends. He was looking for allies. He was kicking off the primary right here in our state. Go back and look. I'm the only person running for governor who stood shoulder to shoulder with our president on a Saturday afternoon. The president winning means a lot. It turned our country around, and it takes courage and backbone to stand up for somebody when everybody's running away from him. And here in Spartanburg, you stood with President Trump just like I did. Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you for all the support you give these candidates. God bless you. God bless Donald Trump. God bless the great state of South Carolina, and God bless these United States. Thank you all so much.
Next up, we have Senator Josh Kimbrough from Spartanburg.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing in Spartanburg tonight? It's good to be in the home county. So, you know, the epicenter of the conservative movement, Spartanburg County. We can all agree on that, right? I mean, y'all have been the Spartan warriors, as we heard during the 245th anniversary of the Battle of Captains just a few weeks ago. And if you went to that, people who don't know much about Spartanburg will know that we fight like hell when it comes to pushing back against overreaching government, defending human life, and defending liberty in South Carolina. We've done that our entire career. And I will tell you, one of the reasons we have a conservative Senate in our state today is because of this county. I mean, you're in Senate District 11, so welcome to that if you're not from Spartanburg originally. But 5 years ago, we defeated a 30-year Democrat in this county whenever I got elected to the South Carolina Senate. And prior to that, we were unable to pass the heartbeat bill. We could not cut taxes. We couldn't pass a lot of stuff because you had a Republican majority that was not a functional Republican majority in the Senate. And 5 years ago, we took over 3 seats that weren't even, nobody thought we'd win at one time. So we won Spartanburg and Greenwood and over in Kershaw. And then last year was the biggest Republican class ever. So now we have a Republican majority that actually counts. And we passed the heartbeat bill in 2021 after my predecessors sought to block it, bringing the abortion rate down in this state by over 80% and reducing us from 20 weeks to 6 weeks. And y'all did that in Spartanburg County, and I think that's a very good thing. And everybody's going to talk about tax cuts. We're all for it. And here's one of the things I want to say just for a second. Because one of the things I hate about campaigns, everybody attacks everybody. I like everybody in the race. We were backstage talking just now. At some point, it has to become less of a personality contest and more a contest of ideas that what matter for you and what matters for your family. Would y'all like to talk about issues instead of talking about the other person for once in a lifetime? It takes a lot of courage to be willing to do this. It's hard to do it. Stepping up and running for office is not exactly a pleasant experience. I think everybody who's speaking to you tonight will tell you that. You put your life out there, you get beat up, you get attacked. One thing I will never do in the course of this campaign is attack anybody who has the guts to go out there and campaign for governor of South Carolina or any other office. It takes real courage to fight for what you believe in, and everybody who does that should be applauded for doing it. One other, that's all right. You clap for everybody. One other thing that we need to talk about is real tax reform. If you think about every major issue in this race right now, we're talking about school choice, we're talking about tax cuts, we're talking about regulatory reform. Now, I have to tell you, I worked in the office of Governor Sanford back in the day. That was before the hiking trip. And we were talking about regulatory reform, tax cuts, and school choice. And that was 21 years ago. Aren't y'all about tired of talking about the same stuff for 21 years and let's actually do something about it for a change? So once we were able to pass the heartbeat bill in 2021, the Supreme Court called us, we passed it again in 2022. And then in 2021, I introduced the biggest tax cut in the history of South Carolina that would eliminate the income tax, completely eradicate it. So everybody's going to talk about it. I introduced it in 2021. I know how the legislature works. You don't get everything you want the first day you introduce it. But in 2022, we passed the only and the biggest income tax cut in the history of South Carolina. Over $2 billion in reductions, and the Spartanburg delegation is sitting over there, worked together to do it, and we are on our pathway to zero on the income tax. And that started 3 years ago. And I think that's important work. Further, this year I introduced Senator Harvey Peeler, who's, by the way, the most conservative finance chairman we've ever had. Sorry, Harvey's the next district governor. Y'all better applaud Harvey. So Harvey and I introduced, along with President Alexander, a property tax reduction that would make sure, as I promised in 2020, you will not lose your house because you don't pay a property tax bill. Nobody should be paying rent to the government. If you pay off your mortgage, you paid off your house in your retirement years, you should never be in the position of losing your primary residence. Right now, we're looking to take it from 50 to 150, and if I have my way on your primary residence, you will never pay another dollar of income taxes ever again. Governing is hard. Governing is choosing and prioritizing. And those of us in the Senate have led the way for conservative reform in South Carolina, and I've been a consequential member of the Senate. I applaud everybody running tonight, but if you want conservative results, we've delivered them in Senate District 11, and we'll continue to deliver them across the state of South Carolina. God bless you, Spartanburg. God bless everybody. Thank you all for being here.
All right, folks, and before we get to the next candidate here, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here on Live Impact. Back in 2 minutes with more on the other side. Just want to give you a heads up, we are following some breaking news, not just out of Indianapolis where 2 officers were shot, but also here out of the Charlotte area. So stay tuned. We've got details on a deadly crash just moments away. Hi, everyone. Welcome back here to Live Impact News. We want to take you now to some breaking news just into our newsroom. This is a deadly crash we're seeing reported in the East Charlotte area. We've pulled this up on a map for you. So you can see it's somewhat close to the Albemarle Road area. We're already seeing some delays on the exact roadway, though. This is Lawyers Road near Split Oak Drive. You can see that's where the red pin is. And it looks like, as we mentioned before, some delays are building here in the east and westbound area of Lawyers Road. According to CMPD, this is a major crash investigation scene. Once again, at least one person has died. They have not shared any sort of detail on a timeline, only saying in the meantime, while the investigation's underway, to please avoid the area. Once again, this is East Charlotte, Split Oak Drive and Lawyers Road, just south of Albemarle Road and east of East W.T. Harris Boulevard. With that, we want to turn to the other breaking story we've been following here at this hour. It looks like our partner station in the Indianapolis area is in the middle of some special coverage, continuing coverage of a scene involving 2 officers shot and a manhunt underway for a suspect. We want to take you out now to that coverage there from our sister station in Indianapolis. Let's listen in.
And the suspect is at large, which is why you see so much police activity in the Beech Grove area. As soon as this is over, I will tweet out photos of the suspect, but we are looking for Kenneth Johnson, born in 1978. Again, that's Kenneth Johnson. I'll be releasing all of his information in a short time on Twitter. We're asking all residents in the Beech Grove area to stay alert, to stay aware of their surroundings, to report any suspicious activity. You can call 911, you can call the Indiana State Police Post, or you can contact Crime Stoppers. Any suspicious activity, if you notice that you have a shed door that was open that's now closed, or something, a light on somewhere that's not supposed to be on, if you're in this area, around the Beech Grove High School is the area that we're searching right now. We're asking anybody to report those suspicious activities to us. If anybody knows the whereabouts of Kenneth Terrell Johnson, contact police right away. We're allocating all available resources from not only ISP but IMPD and surrounding agencies in this search right now for this suspect, and we will not stop until we find him. So we're asking anybody with that information to contact us immediately. A lot of the information that we will release will come later on. Right now, our focus is on finding the suspect that we believe to be responsible for this. The suspect is 6 foot tall. He's 165 pounds. He's a black male with a slender build. Last seen wearing a blue hoodie with either a hood on his head or some sort of head covering with his hair tied up. We don't have a lot of information right now about exactly what he was wearing, but we do know he was wearing a blue hoodie that was described as like a royal blue color. Yeah, we recognize the fear in the community right now, and we're asking people to remain vigilant, turn on outdoor lights, and understand that police officers may be in your neighborhood. They may be walking through yards, they may be doing that. They will communicate with you. If you encounter a police officer, that officer will communicate with you, but we're asking people to stay indoors and report any suspicious activity. We're not asking folks to go out and look for him, right? We'll do that. We're just asking people to report any suspicious activity to us. I certainly can tell you that is a priority for us, is the safety of that school and those students, and we have hundreds of officers on scene right now making sure that school is safe and this community is safe as well. I also want to reiterate that right now ISP and IMPD are coordinating together to make sure any emergency calls in Beech Grove are being covered, and so if you do need police in Beech Grove right now, you will get a response if you call 911. It was inside of an apartment. I don't have a lot of details of what the initial call was. I expect that information to come out at a later date. Again, we're really focusing our priorities right now, our manpower and our abilities on finding this suspect. Anything we have, we're here. We have multiple SWAT teams here. We have multiple SWAT vehicles, crime scene investigators. We have aviation. We're utilizing investigative technology to the best of our ability, and we're going to continue that throughout the night until we find him. We need the community to remain vigilant, and if you know where he is or if you see anything suspicious, please report that to us.
So again, that's Sergeant John Perrine with the Indiana State Police giving us an update. That was done a little earlier this evening, letting us know that, again, these 2 Beech Grove police officers who went on a domestic call to an apartment complex in Beech Grove around 6 o'clock were both shot today. We don't know their condition. They've been taken to Eskenazi Hospital. But I think the important thing, Jenny, is as people are watching this here on WTHR Plus, you want to stay in your house. You don't want to go out and look for this guy. This guy is dangerous. He obviously has shot 2 officers, and you don't want to go outside, but you do want to be vigilant and make sure that you've locked your doors, keep your lights on outside just in case, because this guy's got a weapon and he may be, he may be out there trying to figure out what he needs to do, but police are out there with SWAT and police helicopters.
Yeah, it's a very active scene near Beech Grove High School where this incident first happened, where they're searching for this gunman.
Right.
Our Ashton Hackman has been there for the past 2 hours. So Ashton, again, kind of catch us up to speed what you're seeing there as far as the search and how people are reacting.
Yeah, well, Jenny and Scott, this manhunt is happening in a very busy part of the city. Beech Grove, just north of 465, a lot of connections in and out. But I do want to point to the area that we've seen police go up and down. This is along Emerson Avenue, and if you're familiar with this area right in and around the high school, this is a pretty wooded area in between neighborhoods. There's like a creek or like a bank that runs along, and we've seen police parked along that stretch, kind of looking down. We've heard the ISP chopper overhead, getting some scans down below, but right past all of this tree lines, this wooded area, it's neighborhoods nearby. So you have to imagine police are searching a very large radius. He was last seen heading northwest of the high school, and that goes really into a very busy part of Beech Grove. A lot of communities, a lot of side streets that this suspect could potentially peek behind. Again, police are searching for Kenneth Terrell Johnson, a 6-foot black male, 165 pounds. They believe he was wearing a royal blue hoodie, potentially with a covering as well. But the search, as you can imagine, it's going to continue for the next several hours, really until they find this guy. And police are really stressing the danger that this individual can bring. He's already accused of shooting 2 police officers here in Beech Grove. You do not want to make contact with that person. Stay inside if you can. Lock your doors and just be vigilant for anything suspicious. They were mentioning, a door that you didn't think you left open that might be open, or a shed that you might want to go check on. Just be extra cognizant of the situation at hand. Again, police are searching for an armed individual accused of shooting 2 police officers here in Beech Grove this evening. We'll stay on scene with the very latest. Back to you.
All right, certainly appreciate your coverage out there, Ashton, in Beech Grove, not far from Beech Grove High School. So if you are in this area, we certainly would encourage you to stay alert tonight, stay safe, stay indoors, and if you do see anything suspicious, definitely call 911 right away. This is an active manhunt for a man who police say shot 2 police officers tonight.
We're going to continue to cover this story both here on WTHR Plus and, of course, at Channel 13 tonight at 11 o'clock. We also want to let you know that we're going to keep you updated on our social media platforms, WTHR.com, our Facebook page. We will make sure that you get all the information.
All right, and sounds like they might be wrapping up their special coverage there in Indianapolis. Once again, there is a search underway for an armed suspect, according to authorities, after 2 officers were shot. And we are still trying to confirm the conditions of those officers. They've released a description of that suspect and have asked folks in that specifically Beech Grove community of Indianapolis to stay alert tonight. We'll keep an eye on some of our feeds here on Live Impact. Like I mentioned, we've got a live feed from the scene. We've got to look at some of the specific reporter live feeds. So every now and again, we'll see a reporter hop in front. We'll bring you there live if we start to see anyone speaking again in front of this specific shot. Otherwise, great time to take a quick break here on Live Impact. We're going to be back in 2 minutes with more of your headlines in just 2 minutes. Hi, folks. Thanks for sticking with us on Live Impact. Vanessa Rufus here. We're going to turn back to this Republican Party gubernatorial candidate forum underway in Spartanburg, South Carolina. As we mentioned, the big question for South Carolinians, who will be the next governor? As we mentioned, these are just the GOP candidates, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Yvette, State Senator Josh Kimbrell, State Attorney General Alan Wilson, as well as Congresspersons Nancy Mace and Ralph Norman. We're going to continue on as we have these candidate intros underway. Let's listen in.
Thank you. Good evening, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Good evening, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Come on now. Spartanburg County carried Donald Trump, which, by the way, happy President's Day. Or we should say Happy Trump Day. Trump is going to go down as the greatest president in American history. They did everything they could to stop him. They indicted him. They raided his home. They arrested him. They even shot him. But God carried Donald J. Trump. And before I tell you what I will do as governor, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. There's a story from the Bible about a woman who went to a well around noon. She was alone. She was ashamed. She was the outcast of all outcasts because she made some mistakes in her life. And she went to the well around noon because she didn't want anyone to see her. Well, Jesus was there. And Jesus saw her. And you know what he did? Jesus did not shame her. He did not admonish her. Jesus preached to the woman at the well. And that woman was saved by Jesus Christ. And she went back to the village, her village, and she converted every single person in her village. And the woman at the well was one of the earliest disciples of Jesus Christ. What I can tell you, my name is Nancy Ruth Mace, and I have been to that well. I have been to that place where it's lonely, where they admonish you for not being perfect enough, not being polished enough, not being pure enough. But just like Donald Trump, no weapon against him could be forged. The same too was true in my story, and story after story. I know many of you tonight have been to that place, that very lonely place, that forges the leaders who we are, that give us courage, because this race for governor is not political for me. This is personal. Because God placed a burden in my path, not to crush me, not to demolish me, but to ignite something within me, to give me courage, to give me drive, to give me purpose in life, to do something I have never done before. Being a voice to the voiceless, giving hope to the hopeless. And when all those arrows come my way, they just roll right off my back. Because I know my purpose is greater than myself. My purpose is with God Himself, because He's given me the purpose that I have today, which is why I have the strength and the courage. When everyone runs away, I'm the one that will be standing by your side every step of the way. Teacher. When I dropped out of high school at the age of 17, my parents said, if you're going to stop going to school, you have to start going to work. So I took a job at a fine dining establishment known as the Waffle House. Denny's was too highbrow, but I soon went from making waffles to making history. And 26 years ago, I became the first female to graduate from the Citadel Corps of Cadets. A place where they don't burn the American flag, they salute it. Just like they do in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I became the first woman Republican elected to Congress from South Carolina. And I'm not just going to come up here and give a speech, but give results. Over the last 2 years, I've helped get over $400 million for South Carolina's roads and bridges in Congress. I'm the only candidate with a detailed plan, which you can read in the press and on my website at nancymace.org, to give you 0 state income tax in 5 years or less. In fact, if you read my plan tonight, in the first year as governor, I would be able to return 47% of your state income tax to you in the first year. And so, like Donald Trump rose from the ashes of Butler, Pennsylvania, South Carolina is on the rise too. And we will be courageous, we will be resilient, and we will be prepared to take on the challenges of every single moment that God throws our way. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, folks, and time to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes with more of these candidate introductions there in Spartanburg County, South Carolina. We'll see you in 2 minutes. All right, folks, back here in the Live Impact News studio. Thanks for being with us. I'm Vanessa Rufus. We'll check back in with this GOP forum for the gubernatorial candidates in South Carolina. We just heard from 3. There are quite a few, so we'll continue on here with these candidate introductions. You'll notice when we head to our 3 box, we do have for you as well to look at the Olympic Cauldron in Milan, Italy. We've also just got this brand new live image from Joint Base Andrews, where we've got President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump set to arrive there any minute and then head towards the White House as they have departed already from Palm Beach, Florida. Let's take a look now at our 3 box.
Next, we have Representative Ralph Norman.
Good evening. Great to be in Spartanburg, and thank you for all coming. You can be anywhere, and the fact that you're here is very special. Folks, I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina. I'm a native there. I was in the real estate development business for 30 years, and 4 children, 17 grandchildren, married to the same woman for 51 years. Let me tell you my priorities, my vision for South Carolina. One, we have got to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. I see that in Washington, D.C., as Joe and others see it, but we have it here in South Carolina. Well, you find $3 billion at the end of last year, not know where it came from, not know where it was spent. That's waste fraud, and abuse. When you see legislators give themselves an 80% pay raise in the dead of the night with no input from those paying the bills, that's waste, fraud, and abuse. When you say $300,000 for wine festivals and drag queens, folks, that's waste, fraud, and abuse. It's not going to happen under the normal administration. Term limits. Term limits is an 85% approval from the American people and in South Carolina. We will put the bill up, as I have done every year in Congress. Roads and bridges. There's no reason South Carolina ought to lead the nation in fatalities on our secondary roads. We're going to fix our roads. I've done that as a builder. We know how to build roads. Bridges. We got 1,000 bridges that you and I cross over every day, our children, our grandchildren, our parents, that are deficient, and they're finding the truckers citations. That's not their role. Folks, on roads and bridges, who I picked for my lieutenant governor, it's going to be a working position. It's not going to be just kissing babies, just cutting roads. I'm going to put the lieutenant governor over roads and bridges. They're going to be the czar to fix this. Judicial reform. Judicial reform. The way we elect judges in South Carolina, we're one of two states. Virginia, we elect our judges by law.
All right, folks, we're going to break in with some brand new live images here on Live Impact News. We've got this deadly crash that we are keeping an eye on in East Charlotte. Our crew just got there to the scene. As we mentioned, we're still trying to get some new information from police, but police have released some limited information within the last hour or so, telling us that CMPD's major crash investigation unit is on scene here, as we can see. Looks like we've got an officer who's blocked off this roadway. This is at the intersection of Lawyers Road and Split Oak Drive. Apologies, it looks like we might have some signal issues with our crew there, but bear with us as we continue to work on that for you. And once again, this is in the area of Albemarle Road and East W.T. Harris Boulevard. It's going to be south and east of that major intersection. Checking just to see if we got a few more details from our crew member on scene. All that we can tell you is it looks like we're being kept quite a distance away. Our photographer there, Ben, is telling us that he had to kind of move farther away from the actual intersection where this happened because of the actual investigation. And unfortunately, the direct shot of the crash itself is not available to us. It does sound like there could be some sensitive sites to see in this area. So once again, this is Lawyer Road and Split Oak Drive, general area of that, because we're being kept a few intersections down from the actual crash scene where somebody has died. We're unsure of the circumstances here, but this is following a crash in that area within the last, I'd say, hour or so. We'll go ahead and take a quick break here, folks. We'll be back on the other side checking in on this crash scene, as well as some of our other big breaking headlines from around the area in just a few moments. We'll see you soon. Folks, we're turning back now to these live breaking images from East Charlotte, where police say they are on scene of a deadly crash. They're investigating this as we speak. In fact, some traffic detours underway, and a little bit of disclosure. It looks like we are being kept a little bit from the scene, just a ways. We're still in the area of Lawyers Road, but the intersection where the crash actually happened, Split Oak Drive, is just out of our vantage point. It sounds like, according to our crew on scene, there could be some sensitive images to be seen there on the site, unfortunately, and so we are being kept back by police. But there you can see the traffic detours underway. CMPD not sharing a timing on when this roadway might open, but they are asking folks to avoid the area as they do remain on scene. And apologies once again, there might be some sort of signal issue with our crew there, or a cable issue, so some of the pictures been going in and out over the last couple moments, but we'll work on that as we're able to. Meantime, we'll go ahead and send you back now to this GOP gubernatorial candidate forum out of Spartanburg County, South Carolina. We were in the middle of Congressman Ralph Norman giving his introduction when we had to break away for those new images from East Charlotte. So we'll get back to his speech right now.
A restroom on the joint several where they include all the restaurants and sewer. You and I are picking up the tab for that. I'm going to tell you I'm going to cut your taxes, but I'm also going to tell you where we're going to cut. When I cut taxes, what's going to have to go off the board for spending. I'm going to reduce regulations for businesses. I will get people involved that know regulations that should have been taken off the books years ago. Education, the dollars will follow a child. Wokeness, we will try to cut the wokeness out. Men will not go in women's bathrooms, and men will not play in women's sports. How am I going to do this? We're going to form a DOGE commission that's going to analyze every agency. And I'm not just going to have the DOGE commission just as a something to put on the shelf. We're going to enforce it, and I'm going to put it on my website where the money is going. How will I get this accomplished? I will use the veto pen. I will use the line item veto. But the most important thing, I will use you, the people. Folks, I'm different from the other candidates. I'm not an insider. To change things, you can't be a part of the system. To build my voting, the way you can judge me, my voting record while I've been in Congress. This is my voting record. Look at it. With President Trump, I got the highest rating of any member of the delegation. This is the most conservative voting record, really, in the country. I will do that in this government. Let me tell you, in 25 seconds, the governor's race is the most important election. You pick a person for 8 years, 4 years, but then when it incumbents, you can't really get an incumbent out. Folks, who we pick makes a lot of difference. Not somebody just saying they're going to do things, but people that have done it in the business arena. I will put business people on every board and commission, not crony capitalism. And folks, I'm excited about South Carolina. We can make it a great state, and there's no way that South Carolina can exceed the expectations under a business leader who has done it here in South Carolina. We'll put those principles to work. God bless each and every one of them.
And Attorney General Alan Wilson's next. Good evening, Spartanburg. It is great to be with you this evening. First, I want to thank Rick and Frank and all the folks for putting this event together. I also want to thank our first responders, our veterans, the law enforcement. If you've ever served, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause.
All right, folks, quickly, we're going to get to breaking update. President Trump just addressed reporters, looks like on Air Force One. Let's listen into some of the question and answer right now.
We're high because of Biden, so we inherited a mess, and we've brought our country back very, very powerfully. Our crime numbers are way down, despite the fact that they let in 25 million people, many of whom should not have been allowed into our country with their open border policy. But the country's doing very well. Any questions? What do you expect from these Iran talks in Geneva tomorrow? So I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important. We'll see what can happen. It's been typically Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because We could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential. And we had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
I've been told that a deal is next to impossible.
No, I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
Are you going to sit down with Democrats this week on DHS funding, sir?
I will, but we have to protect our law enforcement. They've done a great job. I just got finished saying that we have the best crime numbers we've had in many years, and on murders, 125 years, and that's despite a lot of people that shouldn't have been let into our country coming into our country, criminals, many criminals, but we've taken out tens of thousands of people, brought them back to their countries. Many of the criminals that were brought in, allowed to come in, have been removed. So we're okay. But to have the best crime numbers, which aren't made by me, these are made by people that do that, many left-leaning. We have the best murder numbers. Horrible thing to say, but we have the best murder numbers since 1900. That's before my father was born. 125 years, think of it. The best crime numbers since 1900, having to do with murder, and really good crime numbers, the best in years.
Are there any demands that Democrats are making that you're okay with?
Well, I don't like some of the things they're asking for. We're going to protect law enforcement. We're going to protect ICE. They're part of the whole system that is working. In Washington, D.C. now is considered a very safe city. When I took over, it was a city that we were losing 2-3 people a week. Over 100 people a year were being murdered in Washington. Now it's considered a very safe city. And we did that. I did it over a fairly short period of time, too.
On DHS, recent news reports have discussed the widespread belief that Christine Owen and Corey Lewandowski are in a personal relationship. Is that a bad look? Recent news reports have discussed the possibility that Christine Owen and Corey Lewandowski are in a close personal relationship. Is that a bad look, and do you think she'll be in the job much longer?
I don't know about that, and I haven't heard that. I'll find out about it, but I have not heard.
Do you see
Will you give your State of the Union speech if we're still in a shutdown next week?
Well, I think I would, yeah. Wouldn't bother me. I would give it, yeah.
How are the negotiations going?
With what, which one? We have a lot of negotiations.
No, with the government shutdown.
This is a Democrat shutdown. This has nothing to do with Republicans. This is a Democrat shutdown. They're upset that the crime numbers are so good. They're very unhappy that the crime numbers are so good. They're very unhappy that there's a movement for getting voter ID. They want voter ID. The population, 98%, want voter ID. They don't want voter ID because they want to cheat in elections. They also want other things. They don't want mail-in ballots. They want to end mail-in ballots, which is corrupt. And one other thing that they're insisting on is proof of citizenship. And the Democrats don't want to give proof of citizenship. They don't want to give voter ID. Think of it. Who wouldn't want proof of citizenship? I ask you, Stan. Who wouldn't want voter ID? And why would you want mail-in ballots if you know it's corrupt? It's a corrupt system. We're the only country in the world that has this system of mail-in ballots. Think of it. The only country in the world that has this system of mail-in ballots, because they cheat. And the fact is they could never get elected if they ever change. They know it. If you had voter ID, if you had proof of citizenship, they could never win an election. And they know that, and they're fighting to the hill. And I put this down with men playing in women's sports. I put it down with transgender for everybody. I put it down with their horrible open border policy as being ridiculous. They don't want voter ID. No voter ID. And I put that down to the same category with men playing in women's sports. I'm going to add a fourth category. They don't want voter ID. Go ahead.
Hillary Clinton said in an interview today that she and her husband are getting pulled into the Epstein matter to divert attention from you and that your administration has something to hide. What's your response?
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way, and I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know. They're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome. I've been totally exonerated on Epstein, and it's really interesting because they've been pulled in. Think of it, they've been pulled in. Clinton and many other Democrats have been pulled in. Yeah.
The USS Gerald Ford, which is sprinting from the Caribbean to the Middle East, is about to hit its 8-month deployment mark. Usually they're deployed for about 6 months or so. Is there any concern that U.S. carriers are being stretched too thin?
I'll answer the question later.
Mr. President, you're warning Cuba to make a deal. What does that deal look like? What do you want them to do?
Cuba is right now a failed nation. They don't even have jet fuel to get for airplanes to take off. They're clogging up their runway. We're talking to Cuba right now, and Marco Rubio talking to Cuba right now, and they should absolutely make a deal because it's really a humanitarian threat. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, and they're going to be very happy when they're going to be able to go back and say hello to their relatives and do things that they should have been allowed to do for a long time. I'm very interested in the people that are here that were treated so badly by Castro and the Cuban authorities. They have been treated horribly. So we'll see how it all turns out. But Cuba and us, we are talking. In the meantime, there's an embargo. There's no oil. There's no money. There's no anything.
If a deal isn't made, would you consider an operation like the one in Venezuela?
I don't want to answer that. Why would I answer that if I was? It wouldn't be a very tough operation, as you can figure. But I don't think that'll be necessary.
Mr. President, Marco Rubio received really positive reviews of Munich.
Very good reviews.
Is there a scenario in which you would support him at the top of the ticket in 2018?
Something I don't have to worry about now. I've got 3 years to go. So it's something I don't have to worry. JD's fantastic and Marco's, they're both fantastic. I think really, and I think Marco did a great job in Munich.
President Xi, in your talk with him recently, warned about sending more weapons to Taiwan. What was your response to him? Are you going to send more weapons to Taiwan?
I have a response. I'm talking to him about it. We had a good conversation, and we'll make a determination pretty soon.
Tell us about your trip.
We have a very good relationship with President Xi. In fact, I'll be going, I guess, in April.
Tell us about your trip to Rome, Georgia on Thursday, your trip to Marjorie Taylor Greene's old district.
Well, we have a lot of people that want to take Marjorie Taylor Greene's place, and many, many candidates, and I have to choose one. And they say whoever I endorse is going to win, but we have a lot of good candidates who want to take her place.
Your board and peace meets for the first time this week. You said it would be the most consequential international organization. Remember, that's a high bar. What do you want for this first meeting?
Well, I think it can, because we're going to have all world leaders. They're putting up tremendous amounts of money. And I think it's going to go far beyond Gaza. I think it'll be peace all over the world. And we're working in conjunction with the United Nations. And the United Nations is there. They haven't lived up to potential. The United Nations has great potential. They haven't lived up to the potential. But I think they might aid us a little bit. But we have the greatest leaders in the world joining the Board of Peace. And we'll be doing it in conjunction with, in some cases, the United Nations. And see if we can get the United Nations to get on the ball.
You've been a kingmaker in a lot of Republican primaries. A lot of people,
including foreign nations. I was very honored to see that a very wonderful prime minister in Japan won by a landslide. I think she was going to win, but she won by just about the biggest vote ever in Japan. And she attributed my endorsement for that. And that's very good because we have a great relationship with her and Japan.
a lot of Republicans in D.C. are asking you to endorse John Cornyn, but you haven't yet. Is there a chance you would endorse Paxton, and why haven't you endorsed Cornyn?
I just haven't made a decision on that race yet. It's got a ways to go, and I haven't. He's a good man. John is a good. I like all three of them, actually. I like all three. Those are the toughest races. They've all supported me. They're all good, and you're supposed to pick one. So we'll see what happens. But I support all three.
Are you involved in the rift between UAE and Saudi Arabia?
No, I'm not. I would be.
What do you think of that?
I would be. Well, I could settle it very easily. But they have they do indeed have a rift. And we can get it settled very easily. I settle wars. I settle a lot of rifts between countries. You've been noticing, right? That's an easy one to settle.
On Venezuela, Desi Rodriguez last week said that Nicolas Maduro is still a legitimate president and is innocent. I know you said the relationship is a 10, but I'm curious what's your thoughts on that?
I think we have a great relationship. I think she probably has to say that. I think politically maybe she has to say that. But the relationship with Venezuela, she's doing a very good job, and I fully understand that statement.
You're going to have Ukraine talks tomorrow as well in Geneva with Witkoff and Jared Kushner. What are you expecting there? Is there
Well, they're big talks. It's going to be very easy. I mean, look, so far, Ukraine better come to the table fast. That's all I'm telling you. We are in a position, we want them to come. And by the way, I watched AOC answering questions in Munich. This was not a good look for the United States. I watched Gavin Newsom.
All right, folks, and unfortunately our time here on Live Impact is coming to a close, so we can't play out the rest of the president's response. But we will see you for the news at 11 here on WCNC Plus with all of your latest headlines. In the News is next. To look at your national headlines here on WCNC Plus.